Sean Spicer talking about the era of strategic patience, which he described as wait and see of the Obama administration. That's over. Still with me, Buck Sexton, Leslie Marshall, and Ned Ryan. And Buck, that's certainly seemingly coming into play here as we watch an administration that is reacting in real time to all the threats that we've got going on internationally. We're no longer sitting by and saying, okay, let's twiddle our thumbs, see where they go with this, and then we can think about it.
The Trump administration is highlighting that on North Korea, time is not really on our side. When you extend out the timeline, the reality is that North Korea is moving closer and closer towards putting a nuclear weapon on top of an ICBM, and the processes that we have in place right now to stop that, including sanctions, international diplomacy, and everything else we've got going on, does not look to be sufficient right now to stop that from happening, maybe delaying it from happening. So they're saying this is a problem that we need to address now. If you want to deal with a long-term strategic problem, you have to take a long-term strategic outlook. And that doesn't mean strategic patience. It means doing things today so that in 2 years or 10 years, you don't have an absolute crisis, which if North Korea could blackmail us with a nuclear weapon pointed at U.S. cities, we would have a very different situation in our hands, as crazy as it is dealing with them right now.
Ned Ryan, I mean, this is what you've been saying, right? In other words, the policies of previous administrations in when it comes to North Korea have put us in the situation we're in now. As we look around the world, don't we need to be acting strategically to make sure that not only do we deal with North Korea, but we also handle whatever's coming our way on the Iran front?
Well, exactly. And you know, the thing that I've been thinking about with the Trump administration is we're actually bringing back the whole idea of deterrence. We have the ability and the capability. Trump has shown a political willingness to actually use that. And then the third kind of value of deterrence is unpredictability. And so we've seen that being played out over the last few weeks. And so you're right, Trish. I mean, at some point we have to understand the last 3 administrations have not worked at all with North Korea. We have to take a different approach. And so what you're seeing with Trump is we're going to take a much stronger approach. As Buck said, I don't think time is on our side. Now's the time to deal with this issue and say, you will accommodate us. We are not, right now, we are in control. In some ways, we are in control of this negotiation. As Buck said, if we don't negotiate now to get what we want, which is taking away the nuclear capabilities of North Korea, we might find ourselves in a very bad place a few years from now where we are really not in the driver's seat. So this is why I appreciate what Trump's doing. Again, we're seeing this as Trump supporters as being one of those things where this isn't about nation building. This isn't about going in regime change. This is about taking a strong stance again on the international stage, saying you will accommodate our interests, and our interests include North Korea not having nuclear capabilities that could strike against us on our mainland.
And again, I just want to reiterate for the viewers, we watch here right now the Dow. Let's take a look here. You can see it's up nearly 140 points, near the highs of the session. So investors are responding positively to this new era of let's move, let's do something, forget the strategic patience, wait and see. One thing Sean Spicer did mention, and Leslie, I'd like to get your reaction to, he mentioned just what a tremendous group Donald Trump had surrounded himself with in terms of policy advisors. We're talking about the likes of Rex Tillerson. We're talking about General Mattis, McMaster, all of these people that he said really have been assembled in such a way that it's just unrivaled, that you have not seen such a tremendous group of advisors on the international front. What was your reaction to that, Leslie?
Well, first of all, I am not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Rex Tillerson supporter.
That's why I'm asking.
I have always liked I have always liked McMaster's, though. I've always liked McMaster's, though, and I'll tell you why. Because, you know, this was a guy that said, look, Mr. President, I'll take the job, but my way or I don't want it. You know, I need to assemble my staff, and I need to be able to tell you when I think you're right and I think you're wrong. And I think one of the things the president has had a hard time is perhaps taking advice. My concern is, and I mean this with all due respect, being the child of somebody who fought in the Korean War, is that sometimes military brass only look to military solutions for situations like this. And I think this is an area Buck and I agree on, which is we cannot strike against North Korea or take any military force against North Korea, especially because, to Ned's point, of the lack of predictability, not only of that region and what would happen to South Korea, but certainly because of this current leader. And like you said, Trish, and I agree with you, I guess we could classify him, in my opinion, as a madman.
Mattis and McMaster are the two people that, with this administration, even people who are very critical of Trump across the board, they will say that these are two of the military minds that are beyond reproach, two of the top picks that you could possibly come up with in the field. So I do think that that will factor in pretty heavily to all of his North Korea policy going forward. I think that he's got two of the best in the game, and he knows that, and he's going to listen to them.
He's also putting a lot of trust in his military. I mean, when you think of what just happened in Afghanistan there, Ned Ryan, he's making it clear that if the military sees an opportunity and it's right, we go ahead and take it.
Well, that's what a good leader and a good CEO does. He hires the right people, if you will, and then delegates to them, saying, within the parameters of my priorities and my policies, I'm going to give you certain leeway to be able to perform your duties. And, you know, Mattis, McMaster, they have dozens, decades of experience in doing these things. So he said, I have delegated to you the ability to do this. But going back to what Leslie said, we have tried strategic patience. We have tried essentially bribing North Korea with oil and food.
Yeah.
And again, what has their response been? We will continue to build out our nuclear capabilities. And so with Trump and McMaster and Mattis, we're saying we're going to try a little bit of a different approach and start to screw down a little bit more and put pressure on and say, we're not going to go down this path.
We certainly hope so. Thank you so much. Leslie, Buck, Ned, good to have all you guys here.